Wedged between the Mediterranean Sea and the Tel Atlas Mountains, Algiers is a city trying to keep up with the pace of change. The Algerian government has put in place ambitious measures to push the country up the list of developed economies. Lucrative oil revenue has allowed Algeria to pay its foreign debt and launch into a series of national development projects, but financial stability has failed to deliver security. Armed extremists also prosper. Algeria still suffers deadly terrorist attacks against state but also UN institutions, as well as false roadblocks, kidnappings, ambushes and assassinations. Vehicle-borne bombings have in recent years become the tactic of choice, used frequently to kill dozens of people at a time. To stop the problem, one of the first things President Abdelaziz Bouteflika did when he entered office was put forward a program of civil concord. Effectively an amnesty towards terrorists, it was considered by most Algerians to be the most effective means of finding national reconciliation and turning the page on violence.
The Algerian people are tired. Algerians are tired. To those who have chosen guerrilla warfare up in the mountains and who think they can end people's suffering, I say come down. We don't want more prisons, more people being marginalised, more people being excluded from society. Our plan is clear. There are rights and there are duties for those who want to serve the country and the people.
The National Reconciliation Programme sought to allow Islamists who had joined outlawed armed groups to be fully reintegrated into society. Algeria's domestic war has killed more than 200,000 people. It was triggered by the annulment of election results in 1991, which had given the Islamic Salvation Front victory over the ruling Socialist National Liberation Front. National Reconciliation received a mixed response from Islamist factions. Some accepted it, seeing it as a fresh start. Others, like the Salafist Group for Teaching and Combat, rejected it and decided instead to join forces with regional terrorist group Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. To express determination to eradicate violent extremism, Algeria has recently, and for the second time, hosted an international symposium on terrorism and the culture of peace. It was a chance to put forward Algeria's experience in dealing with terrorist groups and the means by which it seeks to rebuild peace through national reconciliation. The event brought together experts, government officials and journalists, and was sponsored by an association for the victims of terrorism, of which Fatima Zori Flici is the head.
I think that there are some people who want to show that they're still strong, even if they've lost their battle. They want to prove that they're still there, that they still have strength. And I think that these people don't carry Algeria in their hearts.
For Algeria's National Solidarity and Family Minister, the government's approach in fighting terrorism is pioneering.
Algeria is based on good, solid foundations, on anti-seismic foundations. Right now, nothing can shake our resolve, especially since we have succeeded. The President has succeeded in bringing Algerians together in an extraordinary show of friendship, solidarity and communion between citizens.
De solidarité et de communion entre les citoyens.
But not everyone is so enthusiastic about the government's amnesty. Some victims' associations claim it seeks to make people forget the tragedies of what Algeria calls its dark decade.
Nous avons fait partie des personnes qui ont, dès le départ,
We're some of the people who, from the very start, rejected national reconciliation. We were against it when it was just a planned charter.
À sa gestation comme projet de charte pour la réconciliation nationale.
We rejected it because we saw that it gives impunity to terrorists, that it was just a way of erasing it from the memory.
Aux terroristes, l'amnésie.
It was devoted, therefore, to injustice. What we want is truth, justice, and to honour the memory of victims so that we will never again have to relive this page in our history, or at least so that our children won't have to live it.
Revivre encore une fois, ou du moins, au moins que nos enfants n'auraient pas à la revivre encore une fois.
Algeria's dark decade has left many questions unanswered, including the fate of around 8,000 people who simply vanished. Their families want to know the truth. Reconciliation cannot be imposed. Reconciliation comes about with the will of all concerned parties, including the victims. Where there's conflict, and we're told that there is, all parties in the conflict must be there. We need to be asked. Did anyone come and ask us what we thought of this reconciliation, and if we wanted it? And also, who would we be reconciling with? We had no enemies, we are victims. We were doing fine, we were just getting on with our lives, and then one day this tragedy strikes us, and life is never the same again. I stopped living in 1997. Because my son was arrested, I've had no news from him, and since then I'm only living for the families of those who have disappeared, all 8,000 of them. 10,000 people who were arrested by the authorities have now been given an amnesty. It's written in Decree 45 that no one has the right to bring any charges against agents of the state who gave dignified service to the nation. It's impossible to charge agents of the state or Islamic extremists who have committed acts of terrorism. And it's impossible to talk about the past. The Charter for National Reconciliation forbids anyone from apportioning blame for attacks made during that period. Those who do risk legal trouble themselves. Algeria is trying to turn the page by erasing some of its story.